Hi, guys, and welcome back to the Chaotic Rebirth podcast. My name is Katie, and I'm so happy you're here. So, we are doing video podcasts once again. So, you may be watching this on YouTube. I kind of took a break from the podcast. I posted a lot on Spotify and Apple Podcast, or not a lot. I posted a couple episodes on there. And then, I kind of realized that the mic that I was using was not very good. I had just kind of like a random shitty mic that I got from Amazon for a while. Remember that one that kind of hung like in front of me? And then that kind of started dying. And so I got those little, I got one of those mics that you connect to your shirts. And those are great for short form videos, I feel, but definitely not for long podcasts. And I kind of wanted to feel cool and have a microphone again and I don't know, sit at a and I got a new ring light and stuff for lighting. It's still, the lighting is still not very good in here, mostly because it's raining outside. So the lighting is something that I'm working on. I could probably fuck with it right now, but I don't think it's that important. But yeah, so I got a new mic and now I have headphones and I can hear myself in the headphones, and this is really fucking cool. So I feel really official now. So if you're new here, hello, hi. Again, my name's Katie, and this is the place where I talk about kind of whatever. It's just me most of the time. Sometimes I will collab with other people, but for this podcast, it is just me. And I felt prompted to talk about something that I feel like a lot of people have started following me for, and that is deity work and mediumship. So I have gotten an influx of followers on Instagram, which I'm very thankful for. And I imagine that some of you who may be new followers might be watching this because I'm sure you'll be curious. And I'm really happy about my growth. I think it's so interesting. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday actually, where I stopped offering spell work services because I just didn't feel like it was what I was supposed to be doing. And if I'm going to be honest, I really did not enjoy doing it for other people. It was draining. And although I would get good results for other people, and that was always really cool and really exciting, it just was so much work. And it took up a lot of time. And so whenever I would do a working, it would take 2 to 3 hours. And I felt like I had no time to do anything else. So, in my typical ADHD fashion, I would procrastinate. So spell work wouldn't be getting done for days or weeks at a time, because I just simply was not just procrastinating because I was I just don't want to do this, right? And luckily, I don't think that my kind of feelings towards, because obviously whenever I did a working, I would lock in, right? And you know really put my all and my energy into it. And so yeah, so it got to a point where I just was really not enjoying myself anymore, and I kind of sat and thought about it, and my guides were telling me to stop, and I was like, what's the point of me doing this if I'm not having fun? If I don't feel like this is aligned with what I want? Like if I'm booking spells and I get a notification for it and I'm like, ugh, it's just so. I run my own business. Why am I sitting here making it difficult for myself? So I decided. I talked to my Patreon first of all. I'm sure y'all are watching this right now too, but I talked to my Patreon peeps and I was like, what, like, would you guys be upset if I stopped offering spell work? And they were like, honestly, we much rather just know how to do it ourselves. And so I was like, bet I will stop doing spell work and just start teaching more on Patreon about it. And then that way you guys will have the tools to be able to do it yourselves. And it's a win-win, right? And then in that, I started getting a lot of like ideas for videos. And these were ideas that I didn't have before. Like they just kind of started flowing into my mind on like the formatting, how to do them. And then Loki, who was kind of like at in the back burner for a while in my practice because I was just kind of like figuring shit out. He came forward like really quickly and like was very present. And I was like, okay. And so I started making videos about him. And I started doing story times, but in like kind of a different, more fun way. And those have taken off. And I like the views that I'm getting on Instagram, especially, are crazy to me. And it's so like I might cry. um, because I've been doing this for 5 years and I had to start over because I used to, if you're an OG, you know, but I used to sell crystals with my business partner, my ex business partner. No bad blood. We're all good. Like, you know, still supporting each other and stuff like that. Like, it's, we just both were going down very different paths and it just like didn't align anymore. And I also didn't want to sell crystals anymore. It was a lot of work, honestly, to sell crystals. And I just didn't feel like I just didn't want to do it anymore. I wanted to make my own stuff. And I really wanted to focus on my readings and things like that. And so we separated. And so in 2022, so my business is turning 3 in a month. Yeah, July 1st, a month and a half. So wow, I've been doing this for 3 years. That's crazy. But anyway, so yeah, in July 2022 is when I started Chaotic Rebirth, and I started from scratch. Like, I mean, I had my TikTok following, but at this point, it really wasn't. It's so weird because TikTok, like, I have like all these followers, right? But like, my videos they don't reach them, right? It's like kind of like I don't really even understand the point of having so many followers because I mean, like, it's great, cool, like I'm very proud of it and it's really cool, but it's also like my videos weren't really reaching them at the time. So Chaotic Rebirth, right? I had to start from scratch and it was really hard. I rebranded. I needed to find my niche. I needed to find like my like brand name, because the thing is that like, unfortunately, doing this business also requires a business mind and a marketing mind. And you need to be balanced in that, and much like you need to be balanced in your logic and your intuition, like I tell you guys all the time. But because I feel like sometimes if I go too much marketing business brain, and then I lose myself and what I actually want to be focusing on. And then like I'm so attached to the amount of views that I get on a video, and like, oh, I put so much work into that, like why isn't it working? Or like I try different like, you know, like spell work things and stuff like that, because like I didn't originally do spell work for clients. I didn't feel comfortable for a while, and then I started doing it for clients, and I was like, because I felt comfortable doing it. And but like slowly but surely I was like, I kind of hate this. I love doing spell work for myself, and like I'm more than happy to do it for like my friends sometimes, but it is really exhausting. And especially depending on the working that I'm doing. And a lot of the times people are very attached to that outcome, and it can cause the spell to kind of be a little wonky, not wonky, but like take longer, right? And yeah, so anyway, so I've been doing Chaotic Rebirth for 3 years, but I've owned my own business for 5. And I originally blew up on TikTok in 2021, and it was for my mediumship. So that's like all I was doing. And that was the baseline. That is what I started with, was mediumship. That's what I've been doing. That's my shit. I love mediumship. I love talking to past loved ones, and then that kind of grew into but talking to deities, because I realized I could do that too. And now my business is everything just feels so right. And like, I know I've been yapping about this for a while, and I promise I'm going to be getting to something else, but I just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to you for watching this and for supporting me. Thank you to my deities, my gods, who I'm gonna cry. I might cry, but my I'm trying not to cry, and I'm crying. My guides have done so much for me. Loki especially, like, him being in the background was really difficult for me, because I felt like I was abandoning him in a way, but like he kept assuring me like it's okay, like you need to be focusing on other things right now, other guides in your space. And so he was in the background for a while, and that like was really hard for me, because I love him so much, and I was scared he was going to leave. And then but then when he came back full force, when I finally everything clicked, and it was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing this. And I'm supposed to be doing this. It was like, he was like, finally, you figured it out. Then when he came back full force, it was like, oh, you were waiting for me to actually like put the pieces together myself, and I'm really grateful for him for giving me that time. But I mean, there's a reason why my business name is Chaotic Rebirth, and why my logo was a spider. I love him, and my business is wrapped in his energy, and he shows that in like what he wants me to do. And like, I get really emotional when I talk about Loki, just because he's been here with me for 5 years and I it has been such a journey, and I can go more into that later. Actually, I did announce this on my Patreon, but I haven't announced it anywhere else, but I'll announce it here. Just like quiet announcement. Oh my god, I could do ASMR now if I wanted to. I am writing a book for Loki, and I'm working my way through it, and it's going to be kind of split up in 4 parts. I don't know how big it's going to be. I think it'll be like a medium sized book. Like, it's not going to be anything crazy. I want it to be, I want it to be something, I want it to be something easy to read, because your girl doesn't like reading very much. So I want it to be something that's easily digestible. But I'm doing it in honor of him, and because he wants me to teach people more about him. And it'll be a great way for me to just be like, hey, just buy my book. Buy my book, right? So that's exciting. Anyway, but so yeah, thank you to my deities, Loki, and all my infernal beings that have been around me, and like that are allowing me to use their stories in my videos, and like Ave the Infernal Divine. I love them so much. But anyway, now that I've ranted for 20 minutes and said thank you for being here, I want to actually talk about what I sat down to talk about today. And that is deity work, funny enough. So I don't think I've ever actually made a podcast episode about deity work besides the one that is on my Patreon. And the one on my Patreon is free. So if you're watching this, just pop over to my Patreon. It's a public It's a public podcast. You shouldn't have to sign up. If you do, then you could sign up for free. Like I wanted it to be public, but I didn't have like my equipment yet, so I didn't make like a regular podcast. So this is kind of what this is. It's kind of going to be a regurgitation a little, but it's also going to be a little bit more in depth. Oh, excuse me. But let's talk deity work, okay? Because a lot of the followers that I have gotten recently are ones that have followed me because they're interested in deity work. I am booked out to July because of all the deity identification readings that I'm going to be doing. I I have so many people interested in it, and that makes me really excited. I am so excited that other people are interested in it, and I'm so excited that I can help teach other people about it and help them connect with their deities. And so a lot of people ask me, how do I get started? How do I do deity work? Like, how does this work, right? I don't suggest doing deity work unless you like, kind of are more in the witchcraft sphere. You don't necessarily have to be. But in my opinion, again, my opinion, I do think it is really important for people when they kind of open themselves up to deities and spirits and stuff to be cleansing their spaces, protecting themselves and their spaces, and like actually like have the knowledge of banishing and grounding. I'm going to be grounding. One more time. Grounding. Okay. Honestly, grounding is probably the most important out of all of it. And, there's other things too that like I find important, but these are like the main, kind of the main four, right? Why is grounding important? I'm so glad that you asked. So grounding is important for you to be staying in this reality. It can help prevent you from going into a sort of psychosis or mental health issues. It can also help you hear messages and receive messages better. But grounding is really important for you to be staying in like this current reality, to be like like you're grounding yourself, you're grounding your energy, you're grounding, you're grounded, you're at a you're level headed, you're logical as well. I find a lot of people who do deity work, like, and they don't have like those psychic abilities honed in. They kind of get confused with like their deity saying something, and they will like hear their intrusive thoughts or anxious thoughts or ego or whatever it may be, and then they'll think that it's their deity telling them that. And like it if you're grounded, you're able to tell the difference. And also, oh, I'm sorry, I'm having fun with my new mic. Also, you need to be aware of the fact that they are probably not going to send you messages in the way that you think. They will start deity work, and then their psychic abilities aren't honed in, and then they think that they're, again, it gets confusing of like, is this an intrusive thought or is this my deity? And like, that's why I tell people it's so important to look around you for signs and not just at what you're feeling or thinking. Because sometimes, yes, they will send signs that way. They will tell you things that way, but everybody's abilities are different. And I think a lot of the times a lot of people get really hooked on the idea of like, okay, like they're going to be sending me messages like in my head. I'm going to see things in my mind's eye, and like that's totally like logical. Like that can definitely happen, and it is the most common out of the psychic abilities. But I find that I have a lot of Patreon people or people that I teach, they get really frustrated because they're not receiving the messages that they want in that way. And it's like you have to remove yourself from that expectation and look around and see how else you may be feeling things. They may send you things, they may send you signs, they may send you dreams, they may give you a physical feeling. You know, because if you cannot decode what's happening in your brain, then, or like, you know, the messages that they're sending, or you can't receive them because you're not tuned in enough, they're going to find other ways. And so I think that it's really important, again, to be grounded, but also to remove yourself from expectations of how a deity is going to be communicating with you, and just be open to other methods of communication. Ask for other methods of communication. Ask for things. It's okay. You don't need to like wait around for them to send it. Like if you want a sign, you can ask them for one. So grounding is so important though, guys. Like I can't even stress this enough. And also, you know, meditation is the number one way for you to be growing your abilities. And it's really the only way. I'm not going to lie. It's the only way. And grounding for me, like I have a grounding meditation on my Patreon too. And like, grounding for me happens in meditation. That is the way that I ground the best, but it doesn't always have to be that way. Grounding can really just be something that just connects you. You're connecting yourself with yourself, right? When you feel disconnected, and I find that a lot of people who work with deities are like, I just feel like they're not around. I don't hear them. I don't feel them. It's like, it's because you're disconnected from yourself. It's not that they're not there. It's that your energy has shifted and changed and you're disconnected from yourself. So you can't feel the things going on around you because you could barely be connected with yourself, you know? And so, grounding can be things that just make you feel connected or calm, and reconnected with yourself, like crocheting or taking a walk outside, putting your feet in the grass, going swimming, calling a friend, calling a family member, journaling, like just things that bring you back to center are grounding, right? And then the other two, or other three, I guess, protection, cleansing, and banishing. These three things are a part of what I see a lot of people call spiritual hygiene. And I'm sure you've probably heard me talk about that a lot, where I'm like, spiritual hygiene this, spiritual hygiene that, spiritual hygiene this. And it's called that because that when you're inviting in spirits and deities, you are opening yourself up to everything, even if you're not trying to. And so in a spiritual hygiene routine, right, you're clearing out the energies that shouldn't be there. You're cleansing and clearing yourself. You're cleansing, clearing your space. You're keeping it balanced, all right? Because let's think about the fact of like, you know, if you don't clean your house, it's going to get gross, right? Like if you don't clean your house, the dishes pile up. There's crap all over the kitchen counter. There's crap all over the floor, and all the blankets on the couch are not folded, and your laundry is piling up. You know, like think about it in that same way. If you don't cleanse your space, energies are just hanging around, and eventually it gets dirty energetically. And so you need to be cleansing at the very least. And then protection helps prevent things from coming in, right? I love protection. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I always suggest that you know at least a basic protection spell, or you know how to you know how to enchant like jewelry for protection, or you're using like a protection oil, a protection candle. There's so many different ways that you can do protection without it being super intense if you're a beginner. At some point, I always do recommend that people do like wards, because those are like more permanent protection, and they can be energized by just being charged, or even the energy that is being fed to them. So like they continue to be energized by negative energy coming to them, right? And it protects you not only from spirits and spirits and unwanted energies, but it can also protect you from things that other people send you, like evil eye, hexes, jinxes, curses, things like that. Banishing, I tell people, is important because although you may not do it all the time, it's just important to know, because what if you have a spirit in here that's hanging around and you don't know how to get rid of it? You know, like you have a spirit that's in here and you're like, I don't want you in here. And then the spirit's like, LOL, I'm staying. And you don't know how to banish it, you know? So it's just good to know. I do banishings probably, it kind of depends, but like a once a month, just to keep things clear. But like I also, you guys have to understand that the way that I do magic is definitely going to be different than yours, and the reason for that is because of my platform. I get sent things more often than you probably ever will, and it's little things, evil eye. Sometimes not. Sometimes I get shit caught up in my wards, and so it's the way that I do things is going to be a lot more regimented because I own a business. And so this is what I suggest to people. Like I cleanse before and after every reading I do. I light a protection candle during my readings at all times. I reapply protection oil when I do readings. I have protection bracelets and protection necklaces that I wear when I do readings. I cleanse my space after I'm done with readings entirely. I cleanse with incense, and then I do sound cleansing as well with a little teeny tiny bell. I have wards everywhere. I do things differently, and it's going to be a lot more regimented and routine. And so you don't feel like you have to be like super precise about it, but the more the better. I mean, like, you're not going to hurt yourself by cleansing too much. Like, you know, it's good for you, right? So that's the baseline, right? And then a lot of people, there are some like different back and forth with deity work. You know, like, you don't need to wait for them to come to you. You can go to them. And like I feel like there's this weird like kind of back and forth on the fucking internet about it, and like of like, oh, you can't work with deities unless they come to you. And it's like, that's not true at all. Like, you can ask for a working relationship, or you can just start worshiping one, because there is a difference. There is a difference between work and worship. Worship is you're giving offerings, and, you know, maybe asking for something in return every once in a while, but you're not like really communicating to them. You're just giving offerings, worshiping, loving them, praying to them. And the work portion comes in when they start helping you with things regularly, and when you're talking to them, doing divination with them, when they are kind of becoming more part of your integral life. That is my definition. So, you know, you can start worshiping a deity, no problem, you know, but you also need to understand that you need to also, if you're wanting a working relationship, you need to ask that eventually. But I tell people that, you know, when you're working with a deity, your relationship with them is a relationship just like any other, you know. You need to be building rapport. You need to be getting to know them as they're getting to know you, learning about them, reading up on their mythology, giving offerings and appreciation without asking for anything in return, before you make contact. Okay, and the reason that I say this is like, I don't want people to like be scared or anything like that, but because I saw a video the other day of like somebody was like, you know, your deity isn't going to be mad at you for trying to talk to them too soon. And that's true. They're not. But I do think that it is important to make sure that you're not just rushing into it. You know, that you're not just like, oh my God, I have a deity confirmed for me, or oh my God, I'm worshiping in this deity and now boom, we're working together. Like that, you just take it slow. You have all the time in the world. You don't like, I know it's so exciting, and like that's where a lot of this comes from, is like being excited, especially if you have that like kind of background in like religious trauma, right? So like it's exciting. I get it. Like and I want you to be excited about it. But you also need to make sure that you're just like, you know, just kind of building on that relationship. Petitioning though is different. Petitioning is different. So petitioning is, you don't have to have a working relationship or even a worshiping one with a deity to ask them for things, but you need to go about it in the right way. Ooh, my God, that scared me. My bad. I talk with my hands, so that was bound to happen at some point. But you don't need to have a working or worshiping relationship with a deity to ask them for things, but you need to go about it in a certain way where you are respectful and giving them something in return. It's a transactional relationship or transactional situation. So on Patreon, I talk a lot about my petitions to Apollo. I don't have a working relationship with him, but I ask him for things just because he's helped me in the past, and I adore him and he's great. But like we just don't have that relationship, and I also don't really have the room to have an altar for him to worship him at. But I do appreciate him, and I do speak his praises, and I do think that that is a form of worship in and of itself. But I am not like a continuous worshiper, and he's helped me every single time. He's great. Apollo, fantastic. So yeah, so like you don't need to have a working relationship to petition a deity. I don't suggest petitioning the infernal divine kind of willy-nilly. I think a preference of mine, simply because they're just different. Like Norse and Greek gods, historically, people would simply, they didn't really, I mean, I don't really think they had intricate altars or anything like that like we do. This is very, a lot of what we do is very modernized, and that's okay. I got a fucking hate comment being like, you can't do modern. I was like, okay, cool. Let me just go outside, sacrifice a goat in the middle of my apartment complex for the gods real quick. Like, I don't really know what you expect me to do, because it has to be modernized. We're not in the fucking 800s anymore. It is 2025. I can't be dancing naked in the rain in as much as I want to at my apartment complex. Like, be so fucking for real. Anyway, so what we do is very modernized, in the sense of having an altar and leaving stuff on the altar for them and things like that. But in Old Norse times and ancient Greece and stuff like that, they simply would just give offerings and ask gods for help. I mean, they had, like, Greece is a little bit different. The Hellenic pantheon is a little different because they had temples. Norse pantheon did not. They didn't have like real temples. There is evidence of them like worshiping these gods, but I don't believe that they had like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that they had like full blown temples like in Greece. Excuse me. And like they would do like their rituals, like their holidays, and that was a big time where they would feast for the gods. They would sacrifice an animal for the gods, and then they would eat it, you know. And so like that's why I think like I've had people before be like, you're petitioning me, and I'm like, what do you think they were doing back then? Do you think that they were just like not asking? Like, the gods are here to ask for you to ask them for stuff. They're not sitting here just like, I'm here, worship me. Like, I mean, maybe a little, but like, you know what I mean? Like they're here to help. They want to help. And because it's like, what the fuck is the point of me being here if I can't, like, if I'm not gonna help you with things, you know, if you're not gonna ask me? Like, I'll take the offerings, but it's also like, you're struggling with this thing and I can help you and you're not asking me. What the fuck, you know? I tell people that all the time in my in readings. So yeah, anyway, I don't even know how I got on this tangent. Deity work and worshiping a deity. Okay. So yeah, so take it slow, right? And you know, learn the basics as well. Learning about trickster energies, learning about the culture that god or deity comes from. So like when I started working with Loki, I fucking nosedived into Norse culture. You do need to be careful on the Norse pantheon simply because of cultural appropriation with it. I don't want to go into too much detail on here. I do talk about it a lot on Patreon, but I don't want to talk about it because I don't want my video to get taken down. But if you're curious, just type in on Google Norse Norse cultural appropriation. I'm sure it'll come up. Also, when you're doing research, a great so for I know all about the Norse pantheon, but and like books and stuff, but the Greek Hellenic pantheon I've kind of just more been casually learning about. So, you know, starting with mythology is always where you want to go, with either pantheon, any god that you're trying to you know, worship. You want to start with their mythology, learning about them and their mythology. Like, you know, I do think it's great to learn from other people about what it's like working with them too, but you need to know their mythology as well. I mean, that is so important because that's a part of them, right? And you need to know who they are. And like, honestly, the more you look into the mythology, the more that you can see like what they can help you with, and like things that they are capable of, and things like that. So looking into the mythology, starting with the Prose Edda by Jackson Crawford for my Norse pantheon people. Jackson Crawford's fantastic. He's great, very well educated, and he what was I gonna say? I hate when this happens. I was like on a roll and then the train left the fucking station. Starting with mythology, right? Yes. Oh, and then also understanding how they were worshipped in that culture, because Hellenic pantheon, they have very specific cultural rituals that gods want you to do, and it is important to know them and to perform them when needed. The Norse pantheon, you could fucking just throw something at them and they'll be fine. I'm just kidding. But like the Norse pantheon is so funny because I started there and it's so much more chill. They don't care. They're just kind of like, yeah, man, just give me an offering whenever. And then like I feel like the Hellenic pantheon is just so much more regimented, and then the Infernals are just so much more regimented as well. It's interesting, just, you know, kind of the way you go about it. But yeah, starting with mythology, you really want to know where that god comes from, but also their cultural background too, and being able to worship them in a modernized way and in your own way, but also tying in the cultural aspects as well, because you do not want to remove them from that. That is so disrespectful. Don't remove a deity from their cultural like background, and worship them the way that they're meant to be worshipped. The infernal divine is a little different because they were not worshipped. So the infernal divine, you can kind of I think that's why a lot of people who worship the infernal divine or work with the infernal divine are on the left hand path. So because they just kind of do their own thing. And so, I recommend just kind of going more intuition based with like the Infernal Divine, because they weren't worshipped. So it'll be a little different. Like for me, I kind of combine what I do with like Loki with the Infernal Divine because it's just really similar. They have altars, they have a space to, as long as they have like a place to be able to accept offerings, like you're good, you know. I'm gonna be making a video and maybe even doing a podcast episode if people want it, on like what? Why am I so, oh, I'm hungry. That's why. I was like, I'm like sitting here talking and I keep forgetting. I'm like, why? Where is my brain right now? I haven't eaten yet today and it's like noon. So, but if you want an episode on how to like worship, like kind of things to worship or start deity work kind of in secret for those who are still in the broom closet, I'm going to be making a little video about it on my Instagram, but and TikTok. And I also have so many posts about it on Patreon too, a ton of them, because I totally get how it can be difficult when you don't have an altar or can't do like all this stuff, and so really all you got to do is just have a place for them to accept offerings. That's really it, and maybe a candle. And so I will get into more detail about that in a different episode. This is probably the longest episode that I've ever done because I'm looking right now. My camera says 48 minutes, but I'm going to slice it down a little bit, so it might be 40. Which is crazy. I think I just like listening to myself talk in this mic. But the next podcast episode, I'm going to be doing a dream episode. I posted about it long ago, long time ago, when I was kind of getting back into the podcast, and then I kind of fell off because I got busy. You know how it is. But now I'm committed because I spent money on a new mic and on a new stand, and now I can post again on YouTube. I'm so happy for that because honestly it was like a lot with my setup before, and I think it'll be a little bit easier now. Oh my god, my eyes. I still am gonna have to edit this for that reason, because I need to figure out a better sitch for this. Maybe I'll get like one of those little like like those little like trays that you can like put right here, and then yeah, I need to figure out a better situation for the mic, obviously. But I like opened this up. I literally opened this up an hour ago and was like, I'm gonna film a podcast episode because I was so excited about this mic. Because listen, I sound so good. Like I don't have to yell. I like the fact that I can just sit back here too and like I can hear myself so clearly. Because with my other mics, I had to be like up here, and I don't want to yell because like if I talk at my regular volume, it's gonna hurt your ears. So anyway, so the next podcast episode is going to be a dream episode. I have a couple of people's like dreams that they sent me, and I'm going to read them on the podcast, and I'm going to do a dream interpretation on the podcast, so it can help you learn more about dream interpretation, but it's also going to be kind of fun for those who, sent me their dreams. And if it's popular and if people like it, I might do more. So, fun. If you have anything that you want me to talk about on the podcast, let me know. I want to make this a weekly thing so bad. I really want to be more committed. Oh, the light went out. I really want to be more committed to doing this. Like I really do, because the podcast is so fun for me. I literally just sit here and yap. I think I just need to film a lot of them at once. Like maybe spend a day doing podcast episodes, and then edit them and like post them weekly, because I try to film them weekly, just one, and it's hard. I'm so ADHD, y'all. Like, I feel like sometimes I don't have the time. And I honestly probably shouldn't even be doing it right now because I have a bajillion readings to do. But I was really excited. So, anyway, so let me know what you want in a podcast episode. This was a kind of like a chill episode, just me yapping, talking about deity work, things like that. If you want me to go more in depth on certain things, and I'm probably going to re-record a Loki episode. I have one already, but I filmed that I think either in 2022 or 2023. I can't remember when I did that, and a lot, I've learned more, and I think it might be fun to kind of talk about him, since so many people are interested, and I've been confirming him for a lot of people lately, and I'm just kind of like, there's no way. But yeah, so just let me know what you are wanting me to talk about. I would love to talk about stuff. And I mean, it was really cool that I was able to talk for this long. I guess I had a lot on my mind. But leave me your ideas. Let me know. Either comment below. I don't know if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I don't know if you can comment. That'd be cool if you can. But if you can't, just DM me. I promise I will have this fixed next time I make a podcast episode, because this is so annoying. I was just really excited to use my mic, and I didn't really think about the fact that I was gonna have to like have it propped up on something, because I thought I would be able to hold it like this, and like I guess I can. But when I was originally doing this, it was making a ton of noise like that. So I guess I could just hold it like this if I really wanted to, but I'll get it situated, don't worry. But thank you so much for listening to me yap for like an hour. I hope that you enjoyed, and yeah, let me know what you want me to talk about more. I really want this podcast to be a thing. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, guys. I'm gonna have time to record some episodes this week, so I'm gonna do it. Okay. I love y'all. Thanks for listening. And this has been the Chaotic Rebirth Podcast. I'm Katie, and I'm signing out. Bye.